What's going on, everyone? Platinum Bees coming at you with another video. Welcome to episode 2 of the Junk Silver video series. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay guys, so today in episode 2 of the Junk Silver video series, we are going to be talking about the Washington Quarter. So if you are new to stacking, the Washington Quarter was made in 90% silver all the way up until 1964. If you've been stacking a while, you already knew that. But I want to talk a little bit about Washington Quarters, why I like them, and why they are good to stack and have tubes of and have a good amount of. So, as you can see here, this one has cotton on top of it and this one doesn't. I'm sure you're asking, why does he have cotton on one and not the other? Well, the reason for that is this is my oldest tube of Washington Quarters. You can see that date there, 1934. And this one is 1964 to 1964. So I'm going to open these up and kind of just show y'all a little bit. But one thing I was wondering when I was putting junk in tubes was whether or not cotton will mess with coins. My lack of common sense forgot that the gloves everyone uses to handle their bullion are made out of cotton. So cotton is fine. If you have coins that have more wear and you want to stuff a little cotton in there, that's no problem. It's not going to hurt your coins or anything like that. So we've got a 1943 on the top here. And one thing I want to note is when you get the older coins, they're going to have more wear. I think this is a good example of how much wear can actually come off the coins when they wear off. Now, one thing I want to note is like Washington and the eagle on the back, they poke up a little bit, right? So on these coins, Washington and the eagle are probably more worn off, and so they cause them to be more flat. If you look closely, you can see there's like more gap between these, and these are just basically flat on top of each other. That's because the 3D effect has worn off a bit. So it's not lost as much weight as you might think, but it's still lost a little bit of weight. So that's one thing to consider when you're buying Washington Quarters. I think Washington Quarters are a great thing to have in your stack. I think Washington has been on the quarter for so long that it is so recognizable. And I think that a lot of people are just going to know about 1964 or pre-1964 coins containing silver, especially if the economy crashes and things like that. So junk silver is a great SHTF thing to have, and I think Washington Quarters are one of the best for that type of scenario. So let me just kind of take these out here. I don't want to get them too messed up, but you can see that one there is really polished. Like somebody polished the heck out of this, but it's just junk silver, so who cares? But as you can see, these quarters are much more worn down, and they're not quite smooth. They all have a date. That's one thing about Washingtons. It's kind of rare to find one without a date because they're not that old. Like a lot of the Standing Liberties and stuff, and their design made it so that their date kind of stays intact a little bit better. But Washington Quarters are a great thing to have. The U.S. Mint started to issue these in 1932, so you can get dates all the way back to 1932. My oldest one is 1934 because I don't buy these for collectible value. I buy them for stacking value. So my LCS is usually where I get the older ones because he doesn't charge a premium based on dates typically, unless it's something super rare. So 1934 is my oldest one, and it goes all the way up to 64. And so you can see there's a little bit more wear. But in my opinion, it's good to have the older years and the newer years, because you might end up with something that is more rare based on its date and mint mark. And if it's worth more than just its silver value, that can't hurt. In a SHTF scenario, all anyone's going to care about is the silver content. These 64s are barely worn down at all. They have most of their content left, and they're in pretty good shape. They're in circulated shape, but they're in pretty good shape. And as I said before, the Washington quarter was minted for so long. I mean, it's still minted today, if you want to be technical, because they just add states and ATBs on the other side. But that George Washington symbol, wow, that's a crazy toner. Wow. Okay, so the George Washington symbol is a very iconic symbol, and it's just so well known. Everybody knows about Washington and the quarter. So I think these are a good thing to add to your stack. I think they have an interesting history. I think they have a high collectability. And wow, that's almost like a BU one. And I'm sure I bought this at my LCS. That's a very good condition, Washington. But yeah, these are great to add to your stack. You can find them for very low premium, and you can still kind of find them in circulation. I have not found one of these in circulation, but you still can. And you can find them in like BU condition, especially in like the 64 and things like that. This was probably one of the first things I kind of added to my junk stack. And if you saw my video, you know my junk stack has grown a whole lot, and it's huge now, and it consists of a lot of different pieces. But in this video, I'm just talking specifically about 64, pre-64 Washington quarters, and whether or not I think you should be stacking them. And just kind of wanted to showcase my 64, pre-64 collection, and kind of just talk about it a little bit. But yeah, guys, I kind of want to know, how many Washington quarters do you have in your stack? Is it a lot? Is it just a few? Is it something you enjoy stacking? Is it something you have a lot of? Or do you chase the older stuff, you know? Do you chase the dates on the Washington quarters? Do you just stick to 64 and the lowest wear on the quarters in regards to stacking for junk silver purposes? So yeah, guys, this is my video on Washington quarters, and this is episode 2 of the junk silver series. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll catch you in the next one. See ya.